Welcome back. Well, you're still tuned into Halftime Report on CNBC-TV18. It's a sluggish day for the markets, so good time to discuss one particular space, which is the small and the mid-cap space, which has been an outperformer on a year-to-date basis. Somnath Mukherjee, who's the CIO and Senior Managing Partner at ASK Private Wealth, joins in to discuss this and more, and his view on the markets as a whole. Somnath, hi, welcome to the show. Well, if you could just start by giving us a sense in terms of what your overall view is towards the entire mid-cap as well as the small-cap space. It's been one of the best performing indices on a year-to-date basis. Do you think that there is more juice left?
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me. In terms of the space itself, I think a lot of the concerns that have been raised in the recent past around the sharp rally in the small and mid-cap space has been basis recency biases. Essentially, what has happened is that mid and small caps are catching up to several years of relative underperformance against the broader large cap stocks. And index is probably not the best way of looking at it, simply because both the mid and small cap indices, as well as especially the small cap indices by composition, are extremely volatile. So if you look at the small cap index, it's 50% different from what it was 3 or 4 years back. So it's not a like-to-like comparison when you compare index levels or index multiples and do a relative value against the large cap. But if you look at the real investable stocks, people who are investing and the universe of stocks that they are investing in the mid and small cap space, you'll find that not only have the valuations not run completely way ahead of its earnings momentum, it's also not terribly expensive if you look at it relative to the Nifty, for example, as a benchmark for large cap. So there are macro risks to the market, primarily on account of global interest rates, oil prices. There is also the whole higher for longer rationale, fact that markets are bound to take a breather after a reasonably breakneck last 6 months. Those kind of macro overarching risks are there, but that's sort of egalitarian across both large cap as well as small and mid cap. There's nothing especially risky from a small and mid cap perspective beyond what's anyway generic to the category.
Got it. Somnath, I wanted your thoughts on, whether there is more fuel left in some of the key spaces which are picking up now. So in the run-up to general elections, generally you see a pickup in infrastructure, capital goods. There is a return in private capex as well. In the mid and small cap end, are you seeing that? Because from the frontliners, of course, names like L&T are hitting new highs. But what about the mid and small cap space?
I think there is, from an underlying bottom line perspective, several of the investable mid and small cap companies are showing stronger earnings growth than their large cap comparators. So it is not unlikely that they will have equal, if not more, momentum as and when the markets sort of get to a little bit of a tailwind situation again. Absolutely. While I am a little bit skeptical about the whole capex recovery thing, especially private capex, we don't see that yet in broad aggregate numbers. There are only anecdotal micro cases of private capex or evidence of real private capex happening. Public capex certainly is, especially government capex, has been very strong and is expected to remain strong for the next 7-8 months because there is a fairly big number that has been budgeted for in the union budget, and this government has shown that it's serious about spending money, which especially on capex, which it budgets for. So that momentum or tailwind on capex is expected to be there.
All right, Somnath, thank you for joining in. We would have loved to have a longer conversation with you, but due to paucity of time, we leave it at that today. And hopefully, what you're saying comes true going forward as well for both the small and mid caps as well as the large caps. We take a short break. On the other side, we focus on the commodities arena. Manisha Gupta joins in.